Okay, so this is game 2 of the set with Diego, and it's a map I had actually never played before called Atacama. Very aggressive map. You can kind of see how little lumber there is, um, and how the source of forest is really in the middle here. So it's all about kind of getting in the middle, taking control, pressuring your opponent early, and playing comfortable with an open map. It's virtually impossible to try to wall this because of how little natural resources you can tie your walls to. It would just completely kill your economy to send like 5 villagers and wall this whole thing. So matchup wise, you see how I've picked Khmer. They're one of my favorite civs, and he has picked Magyars, which is a very strong scout rush civ that also has a very uh, flexible tech tree. They can go archers, they can go knights, plenty of options. Same with Khmer. So I'm gonna elect to do a strange build. The Khmer do not need to build like a barracks. In fact, they don't need any buildings to get to the next age. So there's just some funky stuff you can do where you basically collect a little bit of like wood to maybe build farms later, but other than that, you don't have to worry about a barracks, you don't have to worry about the mill, just kind of go right to feudal as fast as you can. They also have another gimmicky thing where their villagers can hide in houses, which I picked because this map is super open, and being able to kind of garrison your villagers into a house, especially when your resources potentially are pretty far away from your town center, is just like a good idea in general. So I think that was a good choice on my part. But here's my first boar lure. This is my Dark Age is still not very clean. I've killed some sheep accidentally. The boar, it just means I can't digest the boar, immediately. This guy's building a house. Yeah, so you really only need like 2 on, with this build order I'm going, I think you really only need like 2 on wood. You really prioritize trying to get to feudal age as fast as you can, and that involves pushing in deer, getting your boars. So here's me hunting, getting the second boar, and yeah, just trying to rush as fast as you can to the next age. But I guess I opted to go 3 eventually, which is okay. See what he's doing at his home. He's luring some deer. He's going for more of a standard scout rush with 3 on wood. He's got his mill already. You can see I'm completely avoiding the mill for now. But yeah, my timing on all these lures is definitely not ideal right now. They're kind of rotting away a little bit, and I'm eating sheep unnecessarily, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Ultimately, this game is decided by who is more comfortable playing open and playing hyper aggressive and kind of protecting your economy at the same time. Right, so now I'm going to eat my boar. I think, yep, so I'm clicking up at, it's going to be a 20 pop feudal time, and he is probably going to be a little bit behind me because he's probably going to invest in, well, we'll see. He did have 3 on lumber early, but yep. So I'm clicking feudal age at 20 pop. He's going to be clicking feudal age at 21 pop. Once he gets loom. So I'm a little bit faster. There's some cute fighting with scouts. You can kind of see that actually, I think he had a little bit more idle time than me because I'm already researching the technology and he just researched loom. So this advantage is going to be huge later down the road because it means I can field scouts faster than him. Now, one thing about the Magyars, as you see him going to a second lumber camp, I think he's trying to build a second lumber camp. The Magyars have a free forging iron casting blast furnace, so their scout's going to be slightly stronger because they'll have one more attack. And let's see how that kicks into play here. Okay, so the other thing about Khmer is that they do not need to use a building to build sort of other buildings, to unlock other buildings. So typically you have to build like a barracks and then a stable. So like Scout Rush, people will usually build a barracks on the way up to Feudal Age and then build a stable right away. With the Khmer, they don't need to build a barracks. And that's why you don't see me constructing one kind of like at the forward of my base. But I am going to build houses because then if these villagers are ever threatened, they can actually go hide in a house. And I'm saving up the the wood. I house myself. That was kind of dumb. But here's my stable. I'm able to lay down the stable right away. Whereas you can see Diego's got to build his barracks first. Hopefully time it the same time as the time he reaches feudal. And then immediately after that, as you see here, you try to rush the construction a little bit. But then right after that, he's going to build a stable. So I'm going to get scouts out faster, which is always good. That was pretty bad. That was completely unnecessary. I think I knew exactly where his town center was too. But yep, here's him rushing down a stable. Here's me building my first scouts. He's able to build some pikes, so that's going to be interesting. Now you can kind of see, so I try to plan ahead a little bit. You can kind of see me going on to gold. That's because I wanted to play in this super hyper aggressive map where it's open and you got to be ready for anything. I wanted to immediately lay down a stable and then whenever I could an archery range because I know he's going to have spears and there's just no practical way for me to push his eco if he's got spears out defending it, and especially because Diego's a little better at quick walling and stuff like that. If he quick walls, then my scouts are walled out anyway. So archers is the play to really threaten, but scouts is the opening to enable that play, if that makes any sense. But so I got my scout, my replacement scout, because I lost my first one. This one's kind of weak. You can kind of see here's his free forging, +1 attack. Mine's not +1 attack. But I've got my houses ready whenever I need to garrison. I'm laying down farms. Khmer has really good farmers. They don't have to actually drop off the food. You'll see how like my farm, my food count just kind of creeps up slowly over time. It's wonderful. But yep, so in this early game, it's going to be basically all about trying to get control of the map. Whoever fields more scouts on the field is going to benefit hugely. He's got a defensive spear. That's smart of him. I can't really threaten these villagers without being afraid of losing all my scouts. But you'll see like both players are just going to kind of like go at each other and then feint and then walk away, and it's very interactive. I think it's very fun to do this. And the better player will definitely get better micro. The better micro player will definitely take the better fights. So as you see, this is bad by me. I just lost another scout, taking bad fights, right? Getting poked by the spearman. But here's my archery range, and you don't see an archery range from him, and that's going to be problematic as soon as he starts investing too much into spears. And villager count relatively even. None of us has taken serious damage. Maybe it's some idle time from one of us. I've got 4 on gold now. That's perfect to sustain one production from one archery range, and now my archers are going to come out. Now, so the thing is, I have to be careful because archers aren't that strong. They don't have a lot of HP. The scouts with their pierce armor, if my archers are caught in the open by like, let's say 3 or 4 scouts, they'll get wrecked. So I have to really use my scouts to protect my archers. Here's him seeing my archery range, though he hasn't really seen my base yet. think, whereas I've done a pretty good job scouting, I think, his base. At least I know where his lumber camps are and whatnot. But yep, so trying to take good fights, trying to kill his spears, using the archer with attack bonus against the spear, and then just trying to keep them alive because archers are squishy. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So constant production. This is just the power of the Khmer farming and trying to build a large enough army. Both of us need to make sure we have like enough army to defend ourselves. Otherwise, if you click up to Castle Age, you'll probably get screwed. So you'll see just a whole bunch of like us feinting at each other, and you know. And I know he's got the stronger scouts, so I have to be careful. If all my scouts die as the meat shield, then the archers will die too. So I have to maintain production of scouts. So you'll see here I'm researching bloodlines that adds HP to the scouts. He's researching armor, so both of us are investing, right? We're not in a rush to get to Castle Age just because of how sketchy this map is. So both of us are going to be investing, him into armor, me into HP. I think HP is more important than armor because of just how much it is. It's plus 20. So let's see how that makes a difference. And the kill death ratio is very even right now, but I'm using my archers to pick off his spearmen, and then my scouts have free reign to do their thing. But I have to make sure I take good fights. I don't want to kind of run in and sort of get screwed. But this is a good size. This is a very good. When you get to like 8 to 10 archers, that's when you get critical mass. They can start like one-shotting or close to one-shotting enemies. You know, they can hit and run. They can kill. They can threaten villagers. So it's very dangerous for him to be in this position. And I think here's his mistake. He's farming gold, but like this is way too much on gold, and he's not making archers himself. So he should be instead using that to get more wood or something. Or even maybe a second stable. But right now, like if you look at his resources, yeah, 200 floating 200 gold. That's just too much. I'm spending my resources as fast as I can here. So I loop my archers around, trying to threaten. This is very good because if you lose your lumber camp in this game, you lose the game. There's just no source of wood, and if you don't have wood, you can't sustain farms, you can't build buildings. It's very bad. You can't even build skirmishers as a counter unit. But yep, very even villager count. I guess I had some idle time here, not good. But I'm taking good fights now. You can see the KD ratio really going into my favor because I'm starting to reach that critical mass of archers. And again, Khmer is super flexible. They're able to go archers. And I've just based on the Khmer, the power of their economy farming, I'm able to click up the Castle Age. And he's not quite close, mostly because of this overinvestment in gold right here. He could have balanced that out maybe with a market, but he didn't have the wood to build a market. So now it's getting dicey for him. What I need to do is make sure the archers are alive. They don't kind of die randomly if he ungarrisons a bunch of units or something at the same time. But you can see keeping my army together, threatening him, and then just slowly encroaching onto his land. Meanwhile, just setting up my own base. You can see I'm electing to go double range, so that you have crossbows in the Castle Age. And yep, here's his market because he's got too much gold, and he calls it GG. And I think that it's the right GG because he's lost his access to wood. He's like chopping this tiny little thing here, which is not efficient. I'm about to threaten with a whole army of crossbowmen that he has no answer for because he has not made elite skirmishers yet. He can't reach elite skirmishers because he doesn't have feudal age or castle age. And yeah, I mean, without access to wood, which is the most important resource in the early game, it's basically GG. So he called it once I hit castle age. So yeah, good stuff. I think some of the things I could have cleaned up on are balancing out the resources. There were definitely areas where I was floating too much. Like food, for example, I could have made a couple more scouts. Maybe get fletching a little bit faster in the feudal age, but overall I played that pretty well, I think. Biggest mistake was probably when I was luring boar and the sheep, and it was just super inefficient. I was like killing more herdables than I needed to. But GG for the second game.